Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. It's always nice to see a member of the YouTube sports card community reach a milestone for the number of subscribers to their channel. Well, RJ over at RJ Collects Sets is celebrating 500 subscribers to his channel. RJ, congratulations. Well deserved on reaching 500 subscribers. Well, to celebrate, he's doing a contest giveaway where he wants us to do a video where we show off cards of some lesser known players from our favorite team. So for me, for baseball, I actually have two favorite teams. In the National League, I root for the New York Mets, and in the American League, I root for the Boston Red Sox. So I'm going to be showing off some Boston Red Sox cards because I've been a fan or have followed the Red Sox for the longest. For those of you probably know, my mom grew up in Massachusetts, so she's been a lifelong Red Sox fan. So I grew up rooting for the Red Sox, following the Red Sox, and so on. In addition to showing off those cards, RJ wants us to give a shout out to 4 channels that also collect cards of my favorite team, in this case, the Boston Red Sox. So the 4 channels that I want to give a shout out, and I will have a link to those 4 channels in the description of this video. Before I get to them, obviously, I will have a link to RJ's channel in the description. If you're not familiar with RJ's channel, you definitely need to check it out. His channel name is RJ Collects Sets. Well, he just doesn't collect the standard issued, Topps Flair Donruss sets. He collects some of the oddball and obscure sets that are out there. Just it's amazing on all the little regional or oddball sets that different card companies have produced, and he has a lot of those sets and shows them off on his channel. So definitely go check it out. But for the 4 channels that also collect cards of Red Sox players, the one is Alan, Boston fan. Then we have Eric, 4-leaf cards. We have Jason, Mr. Fisherbike. And finally, Jim, Picker Jim S. So I want to give a shout out to those 4 channels who are Red Sox fans and collect cards from the Red Sox. Now, for me, obviously, I'm a huge Wade Boggs fan, and he played most of his career with the Red Sox. But as a Red Sox fan, I'm not a major fan. I actually don't watch a whole lot of baseball currently, but I don't actually collect a lot of Red Sox cards. If I happen to open packs, yeah, there'll be some Red Sox in there, but I don't specifically go out and buy cards of Red Sox players for my collection. Now, for my vintage collection and the Hall of Famers, I have the complete Barry Yastrzemski Playing Days run. Would love to pick up more Ted Williams cards. Maybe someday I'll do a Jim Rice run, maybe a Carlton Fisk run. Even though he's not a Hall of Famer, I think Dwight Evans should eventually get in there, and I may complete his Playing Days run. But when it comes to Red Sox players, the only one that I really actually actively go after and pick up cards of is Wade Boggs. But with that said, I went through some of my vintage ungraded cards in my collection and pulled out some red cards of Red Sox players that maybe some of you will know and remember, but aren't Hall of Fame players. So I'm going to turn the camera around. I think I picked out 14 cards. Some of them have some backstory to them. Other ones are just interesting players from the Red Sox when they played for the Red Sox. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show them off. Okay, I'm going to start off with my oldest Red Sox card. It is this P206 card of, I believe it's Harry Niles. Now, this is back when they just called it, the Boston American team. I don't know if they were the um, Red Sox back then. I know they uh, teams back at this time period changed nicknames often. So I don't know if they were technically known as the Red Sox back then, but from Boston American League, Harry Niles. I believe it's Harry Niles. I don't know too much about him, but I think he was a decent player. This was actually one of three P206 cards that I bought um, when I was probably a teenager at some point from my local card shop. Just thought it was really cool to own cards from 1909. Obviously, they are not in the best condition, this one here, but it was still a cool card to have in my collection. So this is the oldest, let's just say Boston American League card that I have in my collection. The next one is one that maybe a lot of Red Sox fans don't know of. Gene Desatel. And the reason why I have this card, this is from 19, uh, this is the 1940 play ball, I believe. But the reason why I have this card, and it's Gene, and he had a nickname Red Desatel, and he was a catcher for the Red Sox. And if you notice, he was born in Worcester, Massachusetts in 1907. About the time I think my grandmother was born in 1907, I think, but that's not the reason. The reason being that I have this card, and I don't think Gene Desatel has a lot of cards. This he may have a 41 play ball as well. Um, but the reason why I bought this card is according to my grandmother, who has now passed, but I don't want to focus too much on the back of the card here, but it'll give you time to read it. Supposedly, my either my grandmother worked in Worcester. She grew up not too far away from Worcester, Massachusetts, but somehow she ran into Gene Desatel, and I think she said that he asked her out on a date. I think was during the time that she was dating my grandfather. They dated for many years. Both my grandmother and grandfather, their parents passed away um, early in their life. So it took a long time for them to actually get married. They were dating for many years because they had to work and take care of their younger brothers and sisters, and didn't want to leave the family by going off and getting married and stuff like that. So anyway, this has always been a family story of my grandmother being asked out by Gene Desatel. This was before he joined the Red Sox, so he was probably playing minor league ball somewhere. Um, but yeah, so that's why I had to buy this card, and I remember buying this card and showing it to my grandmother and saying, "Hey, do you remember this player?" She goes, "Oh yeah, he asked me out on a date once." So that's my collection or connection to Gene Desatel. Don't think he made too much of a career with the Red Sox, but there's that special card and special story for that. I don't have as many stories or backgrounds of the other cards, so this video won't be too long here. But I found this 1959 Topps Jackie Jensen, um, somewhat of an unknown if you're not a big Red Sox fan, but he was the MVP in the American League in 1958. RBI leader of the American League in 1958. Jackie was awarded the Most Valuable Player trophy. 18 homers and 54 RBIs on the road, and 17 round chippers and 68 RBIs at home. So you can see his performance there with the Red Sox from 54 to 58. Pretty decent numbers. Solid player for the Red Sox in the 50s. So this one here has some wax stain on it. Not the best condition. I think I got this in a group of 58 cards at my local card shop one time just to have some old cards in my collection. And this Jackie Jensen was one of them. Here's a 1963 Red Sox team card. Obviously not in the best condition. Again, I bought a lot of maybe 30 or 40 1963 cards one time from my LCS. They're not in the best condition. They're almost like filler cards. But what I thought was interesting on the back here is it concentrates more on the pitchers of the Red Sox and their one-loss record and against the different teams. It's sort of a cross tab here, how they did for each team in the American League and their overall win-loss record. But at the top here, it says that Pete Runnels led the team in 1962 with a 326 batting average. Frank Malzone led the team in home runs with 21. RBIs was also Frank Malzone or Malzoni with 95. And then there you have Corey Yastrzemski leading the team with 191 hits. And if you notice here, 62 pitching leaders for strikeouts and ERA, Bill Monboquet. I think that's how you pronounce it. Bill Monboquet. Well, I just so happen to have a 1964 Topps card of Bill Monboquet. Now, this one, I think what is special about this one and the other one I'm going to show here, I think this was part of the group of 1964 Topps cards that I picked up from a neighbor kid of mine in the early 80s that included my first ever Mickey Mantle card, a Yogi Berra card, Harmon Killebrew card, not in the best shapes or condition. And as you can see here, there's like a crease that runs down through the card. Right there, you can see that. And so there's some scratches on it. There's another scratch or crease. Again, these aren't in the best condition. But once I saw that team card and I went through some of my 64 cards, knowing that I think this is the one I got through a trade with a classmate of mine back in the early 80s, saw that he led the team in ERA and wins in 62, and this is a 4 card, so I thought I would show this one off. And also, as part of that trade with the neighbor, here's the 1963 American League home run leaders. And honestly, I had never heard of Dick Stewart of the Red Sox. If you look at the back here, Harmon Killebrew had 45 home runs. Stewart had 42 home runs. So second in the American League in 1963, Dick Stewart. Again, this is obviously before my time of being a Red Sox fan or following the Red Sox, so I'm not familiar with Dick Stewart. For those of you who know a lot more about the Red Sox history, and if there's anything else interesting about Dick Stewart, I'd love to know in the comments. Moving on, I came across this 1967 Rookie Cup card of George Scott. From what I recall of George Scott, very solid player. This is, I don't know, well, this is his Rookie Cup card, so I don't know if he had a I should have looked it up, whether he had a 66 rookie and this is his first solo, or maybe this is George Scott's rookie card, potentially. Says here, explosive 23-year-old wasn't given too much of a chance to win a spot on the Boston roster when spring training got underway in 66. His torrid pace during the first half of 66 earned George the starting role of first baseman on the American League All-Star squad. So I don't know, possibly he has a 66 card. If not, this is George Scott's rookie card. Not to be outdone by the 67, I have a 1970 George Scott card. And there's a little bit more of his stats there with the Red Sox. Batted 308 in 67. Only Only 170. He only batted 171 in 1968. It was only 124 games though, so I'm not sure if he was injured or what happened there. But that wasn't so much of a good year. Only 3 home runs, 25 RBIs. But may say up here, George has played. This is interesting. Which one today, Skipper? George has played every infield position. Three sport star in high school. By on field or two, he's won Gold Gloves 67 and 68. Okay, so in 1968, that's interesting. He won a Gold Glove in 1968, only batting 171 in 124 games, but I guess he won a Golden Glove. Huh, interesting. It's amazing what you can find by actually reading the back of baseball cards. All right, moving on. I found this 1970 Topps Bill Lee. His nickname was Spaceman, and I believe he holds the Red Sox record for most number of games pitched. I think he's in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. And I wasn't going to read his entire bio, but I think he holds the record for the oldest pitcher to win a professional baseball game. It wasn't in the major leagues. It was some independent league. I think he was 63 years old. And for whatever independent professional team he was playing for, he pitched and got the win at age 63. But this, I found out, is his rookie card. The left-hander, he was a left-handed pitcher, and if you're familiar with the ephus pitch, which is like the slow, high arcing pitch that some pitchers had used to just get a batter off balance with a really, really slow pitch. Well, he had a pitch called, I think he called it the leafus because he was a left handed pitcher. And so every once in a while, he would throw that leafus pitch, just a really high arcing pitch to try to get the batters off guard. But Bill Spaceman Lee, and I didn't realize I had his rookie card. Here's a 1972 Topps card of Sparky Lyle. Now, when I started collecting in 78 and 79, I believe by this time Sparky Lyle was a reliever for the Yankees. So for whatever reason, when I saw the Sparky Lyle card playing for the Red Sox, I immediately associated him with the Yankees. But RJ, you probably know, and Phillies fans probably know as well, that at one point after the Yankees, he was a reliever for the Philadelphia Phillies. So RJ, here you go, a card of the from a player from the Red Sox that later played for your Philadelphia Phillies. Then we have another a card of another player that I associate with a different team. Here's the 1977 Topps Cecil Cooper card. Well, again, growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, I remember Cecil Cooper on the Milwaukee Brewers team that made it to the World Series. I think was it 84 where they lost to the Tigers, or was that uh, the team that lost to the Cardinals? I forget my history there, but I remember Cecil Cooper being a great player for the Milwaukee Brewers, but here he is with the Boston Red Sox and had several years with the Red Sox before he moved on to Milwaukee. He was voted Red Sox Most Improved Player of 1975. There's that Cecil Cooper card. Then another 77. Now, Fred Lynn, okay, it's a little bit, Fred Lynn's a little bit more well known, maybe than some of these other players here, but I came across the card, thought I'd show it off here. Obviously, he was an all star back in 1976. This is a group of cards here, the Cecil Cooper, this card, and the next card I'm going to show off, I'm pretty sure I got from the group of 77 cards that I got from my cousin, who had some and had no interest in collecting cards and gave them me. But there's the back there. AL Rookie of the Year in 75, and MVP. So he's maybe a little bit more known than lesser known, but anyway, thought I'd show it off. And the third 1977 Topps, actually the fourth 77 Topps card, and the last two here. Another Bill Lee. So here's the back there. You can see there. He did have some stats in 69 as that rookie card that showed. But as you can see here, games, innings pitched. Looks like he went beyond a reliever starting in 73. More of a starting pitcher. He went 17-11, then 17 wins, another 17 wins, 73, 74, 75 for the Red Sox. There's the 77 Bill Lee, and finally, the 77 Topps Red Sox team card with Don Zimmer as manager. And I want to say that's Bill Lee at the top there. I don't know if that's supposed to be Yastrzemski or not. The image is not that great. I think that may be Fergie Jenkins, possibly. Maybe Fred Lynn, maybe right there. Really hard to tell, especially with the shadow with this setup here. But on the back of the card is just the team checklist. And as you can see, I don't think I did this. I probably would not have filled out the checklist. That was probably my cousin. But there's some of the players from the Red Sox. Rico Petrocelli. There's Jim Rice. Luis Yant. That's how you pronounce his last name. Don Zimmer manager. Yastrzemski, Fisk, Dwight Evans. Cecil Cooper there. Bill Campbell. So there you go, RJ. Some of cards of some lesser known players that at least one point in time played for the Red Sox in their career. And of course, the one that means the most to me, of course, is this Gene Red Desatel card with the connection to my grandmother. Whether that story is ultimately true or not, at least that's what she says happened, and remembers him eventually playing at least a couple seasons for the Red Sox. So, RJ, congratulations again on 500 subs for your channel. Here's hoping for another 500 more and even more beyond that. Love your content. Keep it up. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.